All right.
Having a hint.
Maybe.
Okay, so as a thought, because it's happening when it gets down to 0, you said?
No, it's happening when it gets down to -2. It starts working better at -1, but then 0 is when it works fully. Like
Okay.
it's totally steady at 0.
Okay. The outside box where it connects into the house, it's located on the side by the cover for the generator. Tape a blanket over it.
Okay.
As an insulator to see.
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
That might help because it's obviously a cold problem.
Definitely.
And it could be a cold problem on the house, or it could be a cold problem at the pole or the wire coming from the pole of the house. So, but I would start with the connection to the outside of the house. Is like put a blanket over it, something to insulate it.
Yeah, this whole internet going wonky thing does not work for people who do their entire work on the internet.
Yes, no, it never does. Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
It's so interesting how we as a species have completely picked that up.
What's that?
We as a species have completely picked up the whole yeah, no.
Well,
as just part of regular everyday conversation.
Well, it is, but it isn't. No agenda. They actually broke themselves of the habit for the most part. They actually had
I noticed that.
They actually had a song. Somebody wrote them a little song about I can't remember it now, but it was really quite comical. But yeah, that's the only thing I can think of that's quite possibly on our end to try and solve is to insulate the box.
Well, it does make sense. I mean, metal shrinking, connection would get looser.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, I'll try taping a blanket around it.
I'm sure there's enough scrap blankets kicking around that place to deal with it.
Only about 3 towers worth.
Okay. All kinds of
I'm actually wondering about towel instead.
Towel? Yeah, a towel would work better.
Yeah, towel would have less issue because blankets have that stuffing that gets all damp in our very damp air.
Yeah, well, you just fold it around it, take some duct tape and tape it to the wall.
Tape, the tool for everything.
Duct tape is king, yes.
It can fix just about anything. It's great.
Yeah, I've seen it used you used to use it in crazy ways when you were younger.
I made a backpack, made a wallet, even made a skirt.
And I wonder where all my duct tape was constantly disappearing to.
Yo, that was back when duct tape was affordable.
Yeah, it's actually quite expensive now for a roll of duct tape.
It really is. Like, you are paying $15 for a roll that is a quarter of the size you used to get for $3. Insane. Probably because of people like me making duct tape cool.
Possibly. Possibly. It'd be like everything else, though. Everything's expensive now.
Yeah, but duct tape is one of the first things to get crazy expensive. Although the fact that all the duct tape is the same it's all expensive and it's all the same price, like all different kinds now, because it used to be that like the bright pink stuff would be more expensive than the regular stuff. Now it's just all the same price.
Hold the fort
so that does make it possible for people like me to get the bright pink duct tape and stuff.
Yes, I gotta go fill my drink and I'll be right back.
Alrighty. Woe is me. Now I'm left all alone in the multiverse. Is it a multiverse online? I guess it kind of could be. Multiverse is just a bunch of different universes all colliding together, so. Or is it a bunch of separate universes? Never really got that one, because multiverse comic books were always about the universes colliding together. So is it that the multiverse is just a bunch of separate universes, or a bunch of separate universes colliding together to create one? Who knows? Tomorrow's Halloween, which is totally awesome. I noticed that the moon is rather full. Kind of cool. Something I've never actually seen before is spider webs when they have been in really foggy, icy weather. I've never seen that before. It gets so foggy in our area, you can't really see very far. And I was walking around to check on the chickens this morning, and I can see the spider webs. At first, I thought it was a piece of thread that had gotten caught there somehow. But then I realized, no, that's a spider web. And it looks so cool because it's all covered in frost. Never seen that before. You'd think I would have living on the island though, because it's kind of damp everywhere. But living right beside a lake, I guess it's more damp. Or maybe it's just that when Jack Frost goes dancing across everything, he includes the spider webs out here.
All right.
Sounds like you're back.
Yep, I am now.
Awesome.
All right. As we get rolling into everything else,
Mhm.
ready for a show of the shows. The big
Yay!
big shoe show.
The big shoe show?
Big shoe show. There you go. It's a big shoe. It's a really big shoe. I'm gonna have a big shoe.
Now I've got this image of a whole bunch of different clown shoes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, it's all show business.
Okay, so here's a question for you.
Mhm.
Multiverse. Is it a whole bunch of separate universes, or is it a whole bunch of separate universes colliding into one like in the comic books?
Take your pick. Either or.
Well, then in that case, is the internet a multiverse?
Well, the internet's definitely a multiverse.
Okay, so really this is a multiverse that we're talking into right now.
Mm-hmm. There was a author, I can't remember his name now. Might have been David Eddings. He did an entire series of virtual worlds, and I read that little piece about why he did it. It was back at the beginning of the computer era in early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, where people were just learning how to divide up their hard drives into multiple hard drives and have virtual drives. So it was a really interesting series.
That does sound cool. David Eddings is a fantastic writer.
Yeah, he writes some really good fiction. So, I think it was one of his series. I'm still trying to find one book that I really can't remember who the author was. It was a book that somebody, and it was one of my favorite authors. I checked them all, and I can't seem to find this book. Maybe I just imagined I read it. But it's,
what's it about?
It's about in Florida. They discovered a mound. They had excavated a mound from the mound builders.
Mm-hmm.
And they were having troubles making sense of it because of the way it was done. It was unusual in all the other mounds. And what he did was he actually wrote a story to go with it. And he created the story, and he put the story at about the time of, that one Spanish explorer that came and spread the pox through North America in the 1500s. DeSoto.
I know exactly who you're talking about. I can never remember his name.
Yeah, it's a really good book, but it started with a young man who grew up to become a storyteller, and he traveled from village to village to village throughout all of the paths of North America at the time as a storyteller.
Cool.
It was really an interesting story. It was really quite good, and how it was all brought together, and it climaxed with the DeSoto coming through and spreading the pox, the smallpox, which is what wiped out a large chunk of the American population, or the First Nation population, before the Europeans actually fully settled it.
Mm-hmm.
And when they arrived here to find that, lands were just empty. Well, they were empty because smallpox had gone through and wiped them out. So that was well before Europeans. It was just DeSoto went through with his troop. They didn't even know they were carrying smallpox because they're all mostly immune to it.
Yeah, well, that sounds like it'd be a really interesting book, though.
It was a very fascinating book. I had a copy of it, but it's probably gotten lost over the years, and I keep trying to find it from time to time. All right, enough of all that random stuff. Let's do music. Carry us into showtime.
All right.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
There we have it, and it must be time.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress Plugins A to Z, not Z.
It's episode 614, and we have plugins for syncing posts while searching gravity and WordPress news, all coming up on WordPress Plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress Plugins from A to Z. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the brewery overlooking beautiful southern Vancouver Island. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever lovely
Ember overall.
And we have the usual great show for you today. We got some great plugins, some little snippets about Halloween, and blah 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 blah. So with all that said,
Thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
All right. One of these days, I'm going to have to find that sound effect that they use in older movies where they use a giant hook to pull you off.
Oh, okay.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll actually play it since you're the one in charge of the noises, but it'd be fun to have the sound anyway.
You never know. You play two of them together.
So, welcome to episode 614, handing out WordPress plugins. We've got a couple of great in-depth plugins to cover for you, some recent news in both the WordPress world and the tech world in general, and some awesome WordPress tips. First off, to everyone out there, happy Halloween! I know it's a day early, but since we won't be on air tomorrow, I hope everyone has an amazing Halloween. Jack Frost is officially doing his nightly dance across the rooftops and lawns now, so make sure that you dress up nice and warm for the trick-or-treating tomorrow. Or even if you're just at home, you're going to be opening that door a lot, so you may as well dress up warm yourself.
Yep.
And we do have a bit of an announcement for our producers out there today. Starting from this show and moving forward, the show is going to be here only every other week. I don't know if everyone listening has noticed, but we've kind of been having to cancel about every other week recently because life keeps jumping up and down demanding our attention about once every other week and usually right around showtime. So instead of us canceling often, we're just going to move the show so we have it every other week. And you can rely on that. We'll be here every other week until further notice. So we are going to work towards having the show as a weekly thing again, but we're not sure when that'll happen. So till further notice, every other week.
Yeah, life kind of keeps getting in the way. It's one of those things you just sort of make do. I mean, we do enjoy doing the show. After all, I've been doing this thing for 14 years.
It feels kind of like we've been doing a boxing fight with life, and you know what? We're laying down the gloves and giving in.
Yeah, not rolling down the gloves and giving in. We're going to go sit one out and let the cut man come and drain the blood from the eyeball so we can see better.
Okay.
Well, you know about that in boxing, right?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
I actually used to enjoy boxing quite a bit.
Yeah, well, boxing's fun. All right.
It's entertaining. We also have a few regular reminders before we start the show. Just a quick reminder, the show starts at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time, with the pre-stream starting around 12:15 p.m. Pacific time. Pre-stream is where we twiddle with the dials and knobs and really just warm up our voices, so you can come join us for the entertainment value at the very least. Our show notes for each episode can be found at WP A-Z.com. The new show notes will be up within 24 hours and on our front page. And don't forget, this is a value for value show, and you are a big part of its creation. You are our producers, and we need you to help us to produce. Get on out there, hit some like button, share an episode or two, and let people know that you helped to produce the longest running WordPress Plugins podcast. And that's it for reminders. So don't forget to stick around to the end of the show. There may be some life-altering advice, or it could just be entertaining.
Yep.
For our artist this week, our artist is Greg's Graphics. This is an older piece. We're still going through our art vaults. We would love to have some new art from our producers out there. If you are interested, you can go to WP Plugins A-Z.com/artwork and send some stuff in. If you would like to send in some artwork, but you're not really sure, you can go and check out our art vaults and get some inspiration there.
Yep. It'd be really kind of cool to have some new artwork. This is one of the few Halloween-y pieces we have.
It is really cute.
It is really cute. Little ghosty kid.
A ghosty witch. It reminds me of when my younger human in training decided to be a super bumblebee duck vampire one year. It was awesome. Just little random pieces all put together.
I like the term human in training.
Yes. That's what I'm calling them now. They're my humans in training, because they're not quite adult human, but they're not really children anymore, so they're just humans in training.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, let's go wander over into the news.
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! And now the news with Amber.
First up, we have our WordPress vulnerability report from October 25th. Hopefully this will be working this time. Let's see. Is it?
Nope. It hasn't loaded yet.
No? Oh no. What's going on, you guys?
There it is.
Oh, good. Excellent. So it's just a little slow today.
It was a tad bit slow. Well, you know, they have gone through a company name change, so they're doing a whole bunch of things. Because it used to be iThemes, you know, now it's Solid WP. And I've been, you know, looking at their stuff because I have a couple of clients with iThemes that I get all the notifications for on the site. So I've been seeing a lot of Solid iThemes is now Solid WP.
Well, I'm really glad they have it back. I do like the way it looks. Yeah. I mentioned it last week, but we couldn't get there last week. So I'm glad we can see it this week and show it off for them.
Yep. Now theirs is much easier to read than the other one.
Yes, very much so. At least
the patch stack one is a little more complete, but this one here is easier to read for what's actually relevant at the time.
Yes, that's what I find too. And I like the way that they have it set up now, because before they had it set up and it was easy to read, very similar, but now they actually have an explanation right at the top that's easier to catch. Since their last report, there has been 125 new vulnerabilities disclosed, 61 patches for plugins, and 64 unpatched. The ones that I most easily recognized were Simple Calendar, Google Calendar plugins, custom post types, custom fields and more, duplicate theme, auto login new user after registration, WhatsApp share button, PowerPress podcasting plugin by Blueberry. That one I've seen quite a few sites.
PowerPress. Really?
Yeah.
Has that one been
PowerPress
patched?
podcasting plugin by Blueberry, yeah.
That one there, I didn't even see that one on the list there. Where's that?
It's further down, I think.
They don't have them alphabetized. Oh, they don't.
Just Control F it. Put in Blueberry.
Well, now you're asking for something to actually think.
Yeah, there's also free sold deactivate plugins, plugin manager, and cleanup. That one is also.
Yeah, just make sure you update your PowerPress, because PowerPress is used on, well, that's only 40,000, but every site that I've done podcasting for uses PowerPress because it's the best. It's the best plugin for podcasting.
Yeah, and also ultimate add-ons for WP Bakery Page Builder.
If you're still using WP Bakery.
Well, some people are, and the people who are tend to have that as well, I've noticed. So be aware there are some pretty well-known and commonly used things that are having some issues. They have been patched for the most part, but make sure that you are aware that you update yours or your client's sites.
Yep, absolutely.
And then I have a link here for the WordPress vulnerability report from PatchStack, just because although I find this one a lot easier to read, I'm sure some people out there find the PatchStack much easier to read.
Yep.
So I'm keeping both links here just to cover all the bases. Next, we have WordPress 6.4 RC1 release. So RC1 is the first release candidate for WordPress 6.4.
Yep.
Just so everyone knows, because I saw RC1 and I completely blanked on what it meant this morning.
Yeah, well, it's the 6.4 is expected out next week, so.
On November 7th, yes. Yeah. So the RC1 for 6.4 was released on October 17th. For those who are interested, there are 40 additional closed track tickets since the 6.4 beta, dozens of GitHub commits and commits for 2024. As of now, the flagship font library feature has had to be punted down to 6.5 due to gaps in the font APIs that couldn't be resolved in time. Though the upcoming release is still packed with new features and improvements. A few highlights include a new lightbox functionality, redesigned command palette, block hooks, expanded design tools, and a new default theme. RC1 is ready for the next round of testing, and 6.4 is still on track to be released on November 7th. Hi, Hamdi, it's good to see you. Too bad you ended up in the wrong multiverse. That's okay, though. You must have heard that bit anyway. Next, we have WordPress 6.4 disables attachment pages for new installations. So the upcoming release of 6.4 is still on track for November 7th and will be disabling attachment pages for new installations. Up until now, WordPress automatically created attachment pages when users upload a file through the media upload system. It has been treated as a special post type that holds information about the file, and each attachment is accessible under its own URL. SEO plugins have been redirecting attachment pages for years as they rarely have any significant purpose. There will be no changes to existing sites. They will continue to work as they always have, but new sites will have their attachment pages redirected to the attachment URL. Site admins who want to enable or disable attachment pages can use the new WP_attachment_pages_enabled database option to control attachment pages behavior. You can learn a bit more about this through the link here in our show notes. I thought this was a good thing to know about. Big changes like this can screw some people over.
Yeah, well, this is a good change, actually, because it has been years. It's been there since the beginning, and it often created grief. And if you didn't properly deal with it in your SEO, you could end up getting tagged by Google for duplicate content, etc. So,
So it is a good change, but I do know that some people probably still use it a different way, and this will kind of screw them over. So just good for everyone to know.
They've made a way for them to turn it back on if they want it.
Which is good. Next is Kinsta launches free static site hosting for up to 100 websites, including WordPress. Kinsta launched its static site hosting product on October 18th, and they made a rather strong entrance into the market with a free tier that is competitive with established solutions from Vercel, Netlify, and GitHub Pages. Companies can host up to 100 static sites for free, including static WordPress sites, which Kinsta deploys from its global edge network of more than 300 locations. Kinsta's free static hosting tier comes with 10 features and limitations, which you can look at by following the link here in the show notes. Customers can host pre-built sites or sites built with static site generator frameworks that use Node.js. There are quick start example repositories for many popular static site generators, including Astro, Kettlebell, Docusaurus, Eleventy, Gatsby, Nuxt, Quick, React, React with Vite, and ViewPress.
Yep.
Why are these names so weird?
Because they were created back when geeks were having fun. Yeah, they may regret this. It might become another GeoCities, you know. It'd be kind of interesting. It'd be kind of interesting to bring back good old static HTML.
I'm interested to see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, until the scammers and spammers start building themselves 100 websites to scam and redirect people. So it'll be interesting.
Well, this one is way more fun. Oh, okay. I see.
You see what?
Hendian said, well, this one is way more fun. The one I was in had major drain leak in the kitchen, and after that, as the show was due to start, I made myself coffee but forgot to put the pot in.
Sorry, that's
That sounds like me in the morning.
that's funny and messy. I've known people to do that. And, well, here's the rags. Start cleaning.
Yep. Yeah, see, I have a French press now, so I can't do that anymore because I've done it too many times.
Yeah, well, French press coffee's better anyway.
Next here, we have Automatic acquires Texts, an all-in-one messaging app. So Text, which is an all-in-one messaging platform, has been bought for $50 million. It is a newer company founded in 2020 that creates a centralized inbox for all major messaging platforms, including iMessage, WhatsApp, Instagram, Telegram, Signal, Twitter, LinkedIn, Slack, and Discord. This purchase states that the company is moving into a fourth market that's integral to the modern web experience, messaging.
Yep.
In response to an inquiry about the status of iOS and Android mobile apps for text, a representative from Automatic said the company is currently testing an iOS beta with a subset of users. Android support is on the roadmap. The representative stated there are no plans to change pricing right now, though Automatic is considering the addition of a freemium plan in the future. They are also planning on more integrations down the road, including Matrix, Tumblr, Snapchat, Google Messages, and Reddit. So I thought this was kind of interesting. The fact that they are moving into this is kind of, I guess it's not that big of a surprise because a lot of things are starting to kind of take all the different platforms and make it possible for people to have their own inbox.
Yeah, well, they pretty much have to nowadays because, you know, everyone's so connected up to multiple platforms for different reasons. And, you know, it was great when they were first starting. You only had a few of them. Now there's dozens.
Oh, yeah. So for those who already use this, when they say they're not looking at changing the pricing right now, I don't think they're only considering making a freemium version. I think they're going to be mucking around with the prices, and I think they're going to be mucking around the prices sooner than you think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, that's what Automatic does.
If you're using it now, get ready.
Get ready. Price increase coming. Bend over.
Yeah.
Bend over. No lube.
Next, we have Lightspeed Cache 5.7 patches XSS vulnerability. So the Lightspeed Cache plugin provides all-in-one site acceleration capabilities, server-level caching, and a collection of optimization features. It is compatible with WordPress multi-site and popular plugins like WooCommerce, bbPress, and Yoast SEO. WordFence security researcher Istvan Martin discovered the XSS vulnerability and disclosed it to Lightspeed Cache team on August 14, 2023. So it's had this vulnerability for a bit. It's finally fixed. Make sure you update. The Lightspeed Cache plugin for WordPress is vulnerable to stored cross-site scripting via the ESI shortcode in versions up to and including 5.6. due to insufficient input sanitization and output escaping on user-supplied attributes. This makes it possible for authenticated attackers with contributor level and above permissions to inject arbitrary web scripts in pages that will execute whenever a user accesses an injected page. So that is I thought that was a pretty good explanation of cross-site scripting vulnerability. And this is an issue that has been around WordPress for a while, so as more plugins find this vulnerability and patch it up, it's a good thing. Also, if you are using a WordPress version that is older than 5.9, you're going to have more issues with this kind of vulnerability because everything since 5.9 has had a patch to fix the WordPress vulnerability, so be aware of that too.
Yep.
Next, we have State of the Word 2023 will broadcast live from Madrid on December 11th, 2023. I wanted to bring this forward to let everyone know that we can expect Matt Mullenweg to be delivering his annual State of the Word address from Madrid before a live audience on December 11th at 1500 UTC. So traditionally, State of the Word has been used to make important announcements, share progress, galvanize the contributor base, and recast the vision of WordPress. I'm hoping that we get to see a demo of functionality for Gutenberg coming up. I think that would be awesome. Live attendees will need to reserve a ticket for their seats for the in-person events, but a live stream is going to be available for the vast majority of WordPress world. And as always, anyone can submit questions for the live Q&A portion. So if you are interested in finding out more, you can check this out in our show notes by following the link. And the last thing I have for today, why AI progress hitting the brakes is more likely than world domination. I think this was a pretty cool article because most articles that you come across regarding AI is all about doom and gloom. Danger, danger, Will Robinson kind of mind frame. But this one is interesting because it looks at the physical space we currently have in our data centers, and it explains that we're more likely to hit a wall regarding the space needed to really get AI going before we manage to get AI to a point where it's going to try to take over the world.
Yeah. Well,
as it stands right now, we don't have much space left in our data centers. There's actually a serious record low amount of space left, and the prices are rising because of this.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the AI apocalypse isn't going to happen just because we don't have enough space to create an AI brain yet.
Well, they're also going to need faster computer chips.
And this is also true.
For the full AI to coalesce together, needs more computational power. But yeah, data centers could definitely be a problem. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, we're running out of space, and not sure if that's something that's really easily fixed.
Well, it's not easily fixed. They build more data centers, but where are they going to stick them? That's the problem.
And then we have a bunch of extras that I've added in here. We have some more WordPress stuff, some AI stuff, and some other techie things if you're interested in going and checking it out.
All right. Well, it is time for us to get on with the shoe and talk about the plugins. All right. plugin I've got for you today is one I stumbled across while looking for something else. And I thought, this would actually be a pretty useful plugin. It's called Search Field for Gravity Forms. And it is very useful. I went and installed it in the test site and tested it all out. What's really excellent about it is if you have a site where people are asking you questions where you might already have the content on your site, you can put a little form in there, a field in there, and search. You can name it anything you want. Hey, tell us about your problem. And they'll start, once they start typing in a word, it automatically starts going through and searching all of your posts and pages and your custom post types for content related to that word. And it works pretty fast. And you can include or exclude categories and posts and post types, etc. through it. Very easy to set up, very easy to use, and this is provided you're using Gravity Forms, which of course is the best form plugin out there in my opinion. Considering I've been using it now since they were brand new. But it goes through and it makes it really nice, and the jQuery for it seems to work very well for pulling up the content and figuring out what you're going to do. And you might be able to answer their question before they send an email to you, thereby saving you tons of grief going back and forth with somebody. So very useful plugin, one that I found excellent. And of course, being a freebie, gotta love this one. So this is Search Field for Gravity Forms, and I give it a 5 dragon rating.
That does sound really useful.
Yeah. Yeah, very useful plugin. So,
all right, time for the sound effect I never hear.
Yep. There you go.
Nope, still don't hear it. Sometimes I almost hear it, but never quite.
Yeah, well.
So some WordPress tips. We would love to hear some tidbit tips from some of our producers out there. What have you figured out by breaking something? Or what did you need to learn in order to help someone who did break something? You can send in these tidbits to me at amber@wppro.ca. So I got some interesting things for today. Making sites. When learning something brand new to you and you feel like you're just not getting it, don't start running into a brick wall and despairing. I found that even when you feel like you're not getting whatever it is at all, just keep plugging away a couple hours a day. And eventually your brain meat will manage to absorb the information you're trying to beat into it. Most of the time anyways. There will always be some things that you just won't get. And it's not the end of the world when that happens. This industry in and of itself is so varied, you can't learn it all. And even in this one branch, just in site development, there are so many branches just inside of this that you can't master all of these either. Having a basic understanding of things and choosing 2 or 3 things to specialize in seems to be a pretty decent way to go about it. So, like, for instance, if you're great with Gutenberg but not overly great with the page builders, make Gutenberg your speciality. There's always a way to make things work for your benefit when your brain meats just can't absorb some of the information because it doesn't work that way.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I'm just reading for a second.
Oh, okay.
We keep getting IT innovation that will change the world. After initial wow phase, things calmed down to something more measured and sensible. Everything was going to be XML, even databases, but now we have a mix. All development was going to be done in India, but now we have a mix. All creativity is going to be done by AI. Really? Yeah, I don't think so.
No. No, it's just that, if you happen to be a bleeding edge person and you're doing really well, you could have made a small chunk of change off of the boom in AI right now.
Oh yeah, you absolutely could.
And it's kind of like, I did very well because when WordPress first came out, it changed everything, and I made a pretty decent living. I was teaching courses, holding seminars, so but as more of the content started to proliferate on YouTube, well, there was less need for me to do that stuff.
Mm-hmm. So. When it's all new, if you already have an idea of what's going on, pretty useful. You make yourself pretty useful, but eventually kind of gets to the point where everyone knows the basics. I mean, look at our kids. Like our kids now can find things on the internet easier than we can.
True.
And I've got a couple of a beginner's tip here. What happens when you are working on a project and you get sick and gotta shut down in order to get better? Well, as human beings, we get sick, especially when you have human beings in training living with you. It happens, and there's just no way around it. You gotta go to doctors, you gotta get the meds, you gotta sleep in order to get better. So what do you do about your project that you're now feeling stressed about, which of course will make it harder for you to get better faster? You sleep, and during the hours you are unable to sleep, you work, and you work slowly. A great way to make sure you are fair to your clients, if this is a worry of yours, is cut down the hours you charge your clients. Make it so that you are not charging them for the slow movement due to your being sick. After all, if you are moving like molasses in December compared to your usual pace, it might be a little unfair to charge them for the extra hours. But that's entirely up to you. When you get sick, that does not mean you can't work. It just means that you will be working more slowly. And that's okay. You don't have to try to push through the illness too hard, because that will just make it last longer and make it worse. Just spend the time you can working and you'll be able to pull through it, get better faster, and feel less stressed because at least something got done. I know my humans in training have certainly brought home some doozies from the school they go to. I've gotten pretty sick just this year alone. I used to be, at first, I was really super stressed out about the fact that I was sick and I couldn't work nearly as fast or nearly as much as I was used to doing. And that caused me to be sick for longer because I was stressing out about it rather than sleeping and getting better.
Mm-hmm.
So once you accept that you can still work, just accept that you're moving slower and that you're not going to work as long as you usually do, you'll actually get better a lot faster. It seems simple, but it makes a world of difference when you are able to figure out what is really worth stressing over. Being sick is not something worth stressing over. There's always a way around it, always a way to make things work. And now time for my plugin.
Off you go.
Okay. I didn't hear that one. Usually I hear that one.
No. Don't know why you didn't hear it.
It's your fault, obviously.
Sure. Blame me because I'm the cart player.
Yeah, you're the sound dude, man. It's all your fault. All right, so today I brought forward Sync Posts. I was actually really excited when I found this because ever since WP SiteSync stopped supporting that plugin, I've kind of been trying to find a replacement plugin that does the same thing or at least something similar. Because for us, we create our show notes in one site and then we have it added to another site, and having WP SiteSync made it a lot easier because you would make it in one, then you just copy it to the next one. SiteSync hasn't been working right for a while now, so we haven't been able to use it. And this plugin called Sync Posts is a brand new, out-of-the-box, free plugin. And it does essentially the same thing. It is a bit different in the way it goes about its job, though. So once you've downloaded and activated it, you will see Sync Posts in your left-hand menu. Clicking on this will bring you to a dashboard where you will see the following options: website URL, post status, number of posts, post comments, and author. With WP SiteSync, you had to install the plugin on 2 sites you were using, and the plugin only worked within itself, drawing the information from one site to another with the plugin. The way this one works is you install the plugin into whichever site you're wanting to pull the posts into, just the one site. From this dashboard, you put in the URL of the site you're wanting to pull from. You choose what status the posts will have on this site you are pulling the post into. You can have them be immediately published once they are downloaded, or keep them as pending, or you can have them set as a draft. And then for number of posts, you're choosing the number of posts that you are pulling in. It goes from 0 up to however many you want, it seems. Although it did take over 5 minutes for me to pull in just 3 posts. So I think the higher the number, the longer it's going to take. That was my experience when I was testing it out. For the post comments, this is whether or not you want the plugin to pull in the comments as well for those posts. The options for the author is generated from the authors on the site you are on. So it does not offer an option to not fill this out, just choosing the top of the list available from the site that you're on. I like that you need to have a post author, and it has to be an author on the site that the plugin is installed in, because this stops the possibility of simply scooping posts up from any old site, stealing content you have no right to. So for instance, when I was pulling posts in, when I was testing this out, I was pulling in posts that I had written. So I put in my name for the author, and it looked for posts that were written by me in the other site and pulled them in. Once you have filled all this out, click on Start Syncing. The plugin will pull the most recently published posts by that author on the site you were pulling from and insert your posts into your site that you're working on. This also brings in the categories from the site, which could be bad if your two sites are not exactly the same. For myself, bringing in the categories was not overly helpful, but it also wasn't too bad because I don't have the exact same categories on my two sites, but I was able to uncheck the categories that I don't use on my site, and it worked just fine. It doesn't seem to add them into, it just has them for your posts. And then the setup of this post in its entirety, or the setup of the post in its entirety is brought in exactly the same. So rather than, it's kind of like a copy and paste. If you have a template in the site you're working on, it's not going to put the information into your site and have it work in the template you have set up. What it's going to do is it's essentially copying and pasting everything that's on the site, copy and pasting into the site you're working on. So if you have two different templates, you're just going to get the template of the site you're pulling from. That's it. You don't really have much control over it. If you're wanting it to be in a different template, you're going to have to add the post manually to the site you want the information on. That could be really great, or it could not be great. Because, for example, the site I was importing from is a light themed site, and the one I was importing to is a dark themed site. So the post was light themed. The post that I was importing was light themed, and it was still light themed, even though my site was dark themed. And it had a really odd look to it because it was a literal copy and paste kind of action. It didn't quite work. Very different styles. So that could be an issue for you if you're using different templates, or if you are using light theme, dark theme, so on and so forth. Now, if none of that is an issue for you, it's very simple, easy to use. I really do like the simplicity in the way this was set up. And I do like the idea of being able to pull things in without having to copy and paste. I think that they did a really good job. It is a copy and paste, but it does a really good job. It does also pull in the different, and my brain just shut down for what that is called. Hang on just a second. Nope, can't remember what it's called, but all of the little keywords that you set up in your posts, it brings all of those in for the post as well.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely worth having a look at this and seeing if it will work for you. I would recommend that if you install this, test it out. See how it looks on your site. Make sure that it will work for the look and feel of your active site. But because of how awesome it does work, otherwise, I rate this at 5 dragons.
Oh, very cool. It does have some potential for abuse, though. Lots of it. And you can easily, unless they shut it down on the WordPress website, you can go find the authors on the website by, there's a thing you can add to the URL to get a list of all the authors on the website. So
I hadn't thought about that.
I mean, that bit can be shut down, so it can't be pulled out, but will help stop bots from hitting. But other than that, yeah, it does look pretty good. It'd be nice as it advances, since it looks like it's a brand new plugin. It'll be
Oh yeah, this is a fresh out of the box plugin. I'm looking forward to seeing how it grows up.
Yeah, it looks like it's got some room for advancement and for them to add in some premium features to it. So, alrighty then. We need to talk a little bit about...
It's time to donate to WP Plugins A-Z.
All right, so For our donation segment, our producer know-how and donation segment, first thing to know about is the different credits you can earn. You can earn yourself a producership credit. We have 3 levels of producers that help keep the show's larder stocked to the bursting. We have our freelance producers, backroom producers, and war room producers. There are special perks for backroom and war room producers that you can learn about on our site at WP-Plugins A-Z.com. You go to our main menu on the left-hand side, click Time, Treasure, or Talent Donations, and you can find out all about it. We also have a basic explanation here in our show notes, so you can go and check out our show notes and read up on it there as well. You can also join in and be part of your own production and support the show at the same time. Get yourself out there. Use us as your tool to get out there. There's a bunch of different ways, and they are listed here in our show notes. We have some miscellaneous announcements from us and our producers. Well, nothing from our producers this week, but we got some from us. If anyone out there has an announcement like a meetup, or if they'd like to announce that they're going to be on stage at a WordCamp or something, let us know and we'll add it in here and help get your news out to the world. If you are interested in finding a WordPress meetup somewhere around the world, you can go to meetup.com/pro/WordPress, link here in the show notes. And if you are in Victoria, BC, you can keep an eye on the WordPress meetups at WordPress Victoria Meetup. That's meetup.com/YYJWordPress. Again, link in the show notes. And the first 5 WordCamps planned for this month around the world are WordCamp San Jose, Costa Rica, November 4th to 5th. WordCamp Madrid, November 4th to 5th. WordCamp Montreal, Quebec, Canada, November 8th. WordCamp Valencia, España, November 10th to 11th. WordCamp Manila, Philippines, November 11th. If you're interested in finding out more regarding the other WordCamps going on across the world, you can check out the link for the page here in our show notes. And then at the bottom, you click More WordCamps. And we would love to hear from our producers out there. Let us know what you find that's going on. It doesn't have to be specifically about yourself or someone that you know in person. If you find some information about WordPress that you would, an announcement of some sort, sling it into me and I'll get it up into this section. And you can reach us through our brick and mortar address, which is right here for you, or you can reach out to us through our virtual addresses as well. All that information right here for you. And today's plugins we covered were...
I covered up the search field for Gravity Forms by WP Sunshine, a very excellent add-on for Gravity Forms. Gives you a custom field for searching, customize it with any name you want. You can search any selected post types using the user types defined into the field, and it's customizable in some aspects for the display of the formatted results. So go check it out, and I gave it a 5 dragon rating.
And I covered Think Posts by MD Maruf Adnan Sami. I probably butchered that name so badly. Sorry. Simple, easy to use, post importer for any WordPress site. Can easily bring in many posts at once. Brings in title, content images, post tags, categories, and featured images. Post tags, that's what I was trying to remember earlier. I rated this at 5 dragons.
Cool.
It's question and answer time with John and Amber.
If anyone out there has any questions they'd like to have asked here on the show, send them in to me at amber@wppro.ca, and we'll see if we can stump my dad. Still hasn't happened yet. Maybe I'll do it today. First, though, I wanted to read what Hemdian wrote because I find it interesting. Brains rewire themselves for tasks they do often. London taxi drivers have the parts of their brain that deals with navigation is more developed than other people. So kids are better at Google because part of their brains have been rewired by Google to be more compatible. We are Borg, sort of. That is a really good point to make, though. Our brains do rewire themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. So first question is, what kind of resources do data centers require to run?
Electricity. Lots and lots and lots of electricity. And something to keep them cool, because computers produce a lot of heat. Then they also need big, fat cables coming from the internet to plug into all the servers. They require tons of resources. A data center uses up the electricity of a small town in a day.
Oh, wow.
You know, because you got, think about I've done the math on running my computers. My computer cost me $10 a month to run, approximately. That's just one computer. And you got to consider there's thousands of computers in a data center.
Yeah, that would take a lot, yeah.
So, and heat, and they've come up with some innovative ideas and ways of keeping them cool over the years. They also got to be built in an area that is seismically stable, and an area that doesn't get too horrendous on the large time span of horrible weather. And they got massive generators for backup power.
So my next question is, do you think it will be possible for more data centers to crop up, enough of them to continue the evolution of AI to the point of Andromeda AI?
Maybe. Maybe. They build data centers all over the place. So, the company I get my servers from, when I started with my servers for them, they only had one data center in Canada. In North America, it was in Canada. And now they've got 4 data centers in North America. One in Canada, and I believe 3 in the United States now. So, and then they've got data centers on every continent on the planet. So,
MDN added in his 2 cents. A lot of power goes into cooling, so put your data centers in Iceland.
Yeah, well, there's that.
Well, no, you want them in Greenland, because Iceland is actually pretty green and pretty, and Greenland is all full of ice.
Yes.
So you want them in Greenland.
Yeah, they tend to put their data centers in the northern climes, where cooling is is a little bit more efficient. But yeah, data centers they're neat. Plus, they also contain very high security. To get into a data center is very high security. So.
All right, well, I've got 2 more questions on a totally different topic for after the closing.
All right, well, we'll let our girl take us on out of here. For those of you that want to hear all the really good stuff, got to tune into the YouTubes. Come on over and just scroll to the end of the show and listen to the rest of it. In the meantime, we'll let our girl take us on out of here.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa-z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A-Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsa-z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsa-z.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA-Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
There would be. All right.
I like that last one that Hendian said.
What's that?
Maybe one day we'll have distributed data centers that heat people's homes instead of heating them by traditional means. On a cold winter night, people will huddle around the local server.
I actually heat my apartment with my computers. I haven't turned the heat on since I've moved into this apartment 6 years ago. I have not. Actually, I turned the heat on twice when we got down to minus 12 or something. And it was only briefly, but my computers heat the apartment. I've been pretty much heating my houses with computers for, God, 2 decades. Big house is a little tougher. They're more drafty than an apartment.
And then also added, the local server. It cast a lovely LED light.
Yeah. Alrighty.
So my next question is, why do you think boomers have better cybersecurity habits than millennials and Gen Z? Do you think it's because they watched the development of the internet, or do you think it's because they grew up having to make their own entertainment rather than having it spoon-fed to them through graphics all the time?
Well, a little of both there. The biggest reason, I think, is where we boomers are less trusting of the internet. We're less trusting of it because it was brand
That
new.
makes sense.
Initially, we were a little more trusting of it, but we got slapped really hard, really fast. Because, initially we used to use password as a password, on the internet.
Yeah.
123, ASDF, whatever for just getting into places. But we got slapped pretty hard, pretty fast because the scammers, the hackers, they all came out. They came out of the woodwork extremely fast and slapped us down. And so we developed some pretty decent habits for the most part.
And yet, the most popular password is still password.
I know. It's insane. It's truly insane out there. But yeah, it's and you got to remember that all the companies are now forcing security down people's throats. I find the security they force down my throats to be a bit of a pain in the ass sometimes, especially the 2 factors. In the last 6 months, I've had to download 3 different apps to my phone for getting the security codes because they, different companies want to do it a different way. And so,
well, it does make it harder to crack into.
It does make it harder.
Anything using the same thing, but
it does make it harder. But and of
it
course,
is irritating for the users.
It's irritating for the users, but it helps protect the data to a certain extent.
And
of course, with faster computers now, cracking passwords has gotten even faster than it used to.
Yep.
That's why passwords are now expected to be very long.
And crazy.
And crazy. But what's interesting is some of the best passwords is a phrase.
Really?
Is a phrase tied together. A random phrase that you might use. It's something that's unique to you. It's a little more useful than the random letters and digits. So, but there are lots of different things out there on the internet, and for it, and that's the biggest reasons, I think.
All right, and what kind of habits around cybersecurity would you recommend people get into in order to help themselves out a bit?
Habits around security is finding yourself a good password program. There's several out there. There's a couple out there that has suffered in the last last couple of years of being compromised, and the data's been stolen from them. Some of the data was cracked. Some of it couldn't be cracked from the ones that got compromised. You need that because there's so many passwords. You'll need somewhere to have the data where you can, the passwords and the other information you've got to have for logging into different places. You need a place that's secured that you can access to get that information. It's either that or get yourself a notebook and write it down and keep it locked in a safe, I suppose. Once upon a time, I used to write that stuff down on sticky notes all over the place. But, get in the habit of using different passwords on all the different accounts, never using the same password twice. That was a big thing for a while, was people use the same password. I admit I was guilty of that way back in the day. And if
I
they,
was guilty of it before, absolutely. It was
And-
easier.
it was easier because you only had one password to remember. And if they managed to crack one account somewhere and they realized your email address was on other places, they would just go find a place and enter your email address and that password and see if they got in.
Yeah.
And so it became a problem. So different passwords, using long passwords, minimum of 11, 12 characters now. For a long time, you couldn't actually use more than 6 characters on many places. They didn't accept more than 6 characters for a password.
Yeah. Well,
Then-
7 I found, but yeah.
Then they went to 8. Then now they've got them up to 56 or 256 characters for some of them. So
Well, like Henyon says here, when security makes it harder for the user, users will find dangerous workarounds.
yes, they will.
A local restaurant has their till password written on tape attached to the till. Even the customers can see it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Well, it's the way of it. The biggest thing is security is important, but the more pain in the ass you make it, the more people
Yeah.
want to avoid it, because it's like the problem is though is we don't have an easy way to make most of it.
Unfortunately, no. I mean, if you have a good password program, though, I found it makes life so much easier because I was forever getting locked out of various places because I, like a good little geek, I had different passwords for every single thing, and then I'd get them mixed up.
Yeah, you can't remember
So-
which password goes where.
Exactly. And it got very frustrating. But once I started using RoboForm,
Mm-hmm.
it's been way better.
Yeah.
I like RoboForm.
Yeah, that's a good password program.
Mhm.
I've been using it for quite some time now.
And it's affordable.
It's affordable. It's an affordable one.
Don't use the free ones.
No, don't use the free ones. Don't use, like a lot of people use the password, save the password in their browsers.
Don't do that.
Don't do that, because if someone gains access to your computer, all those passwords are plain text.
Mm-hmm.
You can see them. So don't use those. I mean, I used it back in the day. I used my browser, and then one day I realized, wait a minute, this thing here is open if someone hacks my computer or gets into my computer or, steals my computer, all those things there. So,
Yeah, it's not good.
no. So you want to, it's just, you want good security, cybersecurity habits. You want good security habits on the whole for everything. All right.
I think that's it.
I don't think we have much else. Well, thanks a lot for everyone for showing up. We will call it a day at the show for that. So a little bit of music to carry us on out.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
Alrighty, folks. That's all we got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Oh my god, that is amazing!
Oh no. Obviously, we just lost the satellite feed.